Welcome to Nebraska Preps Postgame with your hosts, Mike Sautter and Jacob Padilla.
Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of Nebraska Preps Postgame. Mike Sautter, Jacob Padilla here to break down everything that happened last week in high school basketball. But before we get to that, did you know that driving is a full-time job? You should put your phone down. Food and friends need your attention when you're not driving. Stop all the distractions, just drive. And this message from the Nebraska Department NDOT Highway Safety Office. All right, Jacob. Well, we had a lot to talk about, maybe. There's a lot that happened last week. Tuesday was a big day.
Yeah. And of course, we were both kind of being out in gyms because of our other responsibilities with Great Nebraska both playing. But another good week. And I think we'll start in A. And I think what we talked about early on in the season is it looked like Class A, there was more balance. Any of 6-7 teams, whatever. You wouldn't be surprised to see them end up number one, win the title. I think over the last few weeks, we settled back into what it has been, and it looks like
has been the last 4 years.
The Bellevue West and Millard North have kind of settled in. Separated.
Let's say they separated a little bit.
Yeah.
Even though Central sitting there at 3 is, I mean, they have that one win over Millard North.
Yeah,
and it's, but at the same time, like, who do you trust in that moment, right? So Millard North handled Westside at Westside on Tuesday night by quite a bit, or 20-ish point win on the road.
76-56. Elijah Geth, 29 points, 7 assists, 4 rebounds, 4 steals, 11 of 14 shooting, hit all 4 of his threes, 3 of 4 from the line, and 24 points and 14 rebounds from Derek Rollins, 9 of 13 shooting. 5 of 6 from the line. Like,
matchup's tough for Derek. There isn't really a post that can.
But if they have those two both playing like that, and then Neil Moster hit a few threes, had 12 points. It's
tough.
Anybody's gonna have a tough time kind of keeping up with that. Like that's kind of what makes Millard North special. Is you've got 2 guys that are capable of going 20 plus and carrying you. And if they do it at the same time, then that's a really, really good team. And then they followed it up with a 71-57 win against Papillion Vista South. Kind of close early, and then 21-10 second quarter. And that was basically ball game. This time it was Neil Moster who led the way. 18 points, 7 assists, 6 of 9 from the field, only 2 threes. So 4 or 5 from the line, just doing it. Kind of a well-rounded performance for him. And then 15 and 7 from Rollins, 10 from Geth. So those 3 seniors make Millard North very tough to deal with, especially the different ways they all get it done. Like, it's a really well-rounded trio there. And so Millard North is sitting at 14-2 and number 2 in our coaches poll. And they give the Millard week this week. They take on Millard South
and Millard West.
And Millard West this week. So not taking on any top 10 teams here this week. So they're in good shape right now.
Millard West can be feisty, and it's a rivalry kind of game, and there'll be a lot of people there. So that one, the girls' game of that one will be pretty good.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Millard North, Millard West.
And that's Friday, right?
Right, Friday night. But
number 1.
So let's go to Bellevue West. They had a pretty good week, right? Like, they beat 2 good teams. Gave Prep their first loss of the week, and Prep was at an 0-2 week. Bell West kind of controlled the game, but Prep kind of just kept hanging around, even though Prep didn't really play that great. They only lost by 13, but Jaden Castro Jensen was 8 of 10 from 3.
Yeah, it was a 21-10 first quarter, and then Bell West opened the second quarter with a 9-0 run. And credit to Prep, they put together their own 9-0 run to get back into it. They kind of hung around for a while, but just couldn't get over that hump, get totally back into that game. Like you said, Jaden Castro Jensen's story of the game had 26, 23 in the first half, hit all 7 of his first half threes, and he was hitting some tough ones. It wasn't like he was standing wide open. Time to load. Like, he was definitely taking some heat checks, and they just kept going in. And like, he's a piece for them that's kind of been more of a connector, kind of more of a glue guy this year. Shot 37% from 3 last year at Fremont. and has not shot the ball well this year.
20s this year.
He only made 12 threes on the season going in. And that game went 8 for 10.
It's one of those nights
nearly matched his season total there. So and that's what makes him tough. Like that's your fifth leading scorer out of your starting lineup. And he's going off for 26.
Right.
And Prep, I mean, Dylan Clausen had 16 and 11. They got 10 points out of Turnell Parker. They did a better job of kind of slowing him down after he got some good looks early on. And then I thought throughout the game, kind of Prep's guards got
guard
kind of got baited into taking some tougher shots.
Yeah.
When Bell West was knocking down threes, he kind of felt like he had to get it back right away and took some tough jumpers.
They needed to just continue to play through their two bigs, and they just kind of settled a little bit at times.
So, and then 12-point win for Bell West there at
and then
home.
They went out to Kearney and won.
Well, and they got 18 points, 6 assists, 4 steals from Jaden Jackson, who did not shoot the ball well from 3 this week. And still
producing very well.
Doing a better job getting to the basket. They had 12.7 boards off the bench from Jacob Rope. Again, a guy like Jacob coming off the bench, nobody else has something like that. Where you got him coming behind Robbie Garcia. You can play them together.
2 bigs that you don't even need to play at the same time.
Yeah, but they could against Prep and better match up with their 2 bigs there. So that gives you that versatility that a lot of teams don't have. And then you mentioned Kearney, 74-63 at Kearney, and you were there.
Yeah.
Kind of what was the story there?
Yeah, they just came out hot, bang, right away. Bellevue West did. I mean, that gym was, packed, it was loud. You figured the environment, right? The community showed up for that game. But Bellevue West just 9-2 run, and it was done. Yeah. Like 9-2 run to start the game, and it was basically like, oh, Kearney needed a hot start. Also, Jaden Jackson was pretty good in that game. Robbie Garcia was really good in that game.
20 for Robbie.
Yeah, he was
18
great.
for Jaden.
Yeah. And Jaden, more than just, scoring the ball, he made there was 1 assist he made on a rim cut backdoor that was like through 2 people, and he was at the top of the key, and he just hit Isaiah McMorris on. It was a dime and bucket, and that was a huge play because Kearney had cut it to like 6 and trying to come back like late 3rd, early 4th, and and that once that play happened, it was basically like deflating because the crowd started getting into it, and they're just so balanced and so good. I mean, they have the most depth. Jaden is playing extremely well this year, and Robbie Garcia has also been probably the most improved player from last year to this year. If you do just statistically, numbers wise, But Jaden's averaging 17 and 3, almost 4 assists and a block a game and almost 2 steals a game, and he's not even the primary ball handler.
And that's kind of what we've seen from them this year is really start to round out that game. No Josiah Dotzler in the backcourt, right. Eldon Turner. Those 2 are kind of similar in that they can both make plays on off the ball, both make defensive plays, can both rebound as guards. So it's a really tough backcourt to hold down, whether they're shooting the ball well or not. And that's kind of been the evolution of Jaden's game to where first 3 years he was primarily a 3-point shooter. Playing off of Josiah, spot up shooter. He really developed into a deadly 3-point shooter as his career went on. Like last year as a junior, probably arguably as good as anybody in the state just in terms of shot versatility. And now he's
45% from 3.
Yeah,
that's still pretty dang good. Yeah.
But now he's scoring at the rim as well.
He's the best player right now today in the state, and that's just I've said that for a while. But and I'm saying doesn't matter, senior, junior, sophomore, freshman, doesn't matter. He's the most complete player in the state, and there's. Amari Bynum is a better prospect down the road, but I think right now, if you had to win a game tomorrow, you probably go with Jaden Jackson as the guy you want on your team.
Can't go wrong there. Credit to Kearney's big 3 in that one. Ben Johnson, 27 and 10.
He was huge.
Jacob Weber, 16, and Asher Endorf, 15.
They just only got 3 guys that can score.
Yeah.
They need more production. They really need somebody. If someone else can score like 8, they'd be they'd be a lot better. And some nights they can. Ben Johnson was really impressive for Kearney. He guarded the 1 through 5 at times, which they need him to.
Yeah.
He took some tough shots, made some tough shots, deep threes, had 2 huge dunks where he gets off the ground pretty quick. Overall, really impressed with Ben. He's got some toughness and some grit to him.
Difference in the game was 10 and 22 from 3 for Bell West, 6 of 21 for Kearney. And Kearney's got to shoot better than that to keep up with the team like Bell West. But
they also just need, they just need they need some more juice there. And I will say this, Jacob Weber had a really nice game. His makes weren't easy at all. Couple like fadeaway shots with a hand in his face, and he's coming along nicely. Like he's doing a nice job of fitting in there. Started a little, slower. This is the first game he's had where he's been really good against a good team, right? Or good against a good team, and then he backed up a 8-3 night that he had on Friday night against North Star. So he's coming. He's working. He's getting there.
Yep. Moving on in Central, really good win against Scott on
that game was
Thursday,
good.
On Friday. Yeah. It was 44-42 Central in the fourth quarter, late. And then Devin Holman took over.
Had 9
scored a faced up drive, scored a bucket. Then Central forced a turnover. Then Holman hit a 3 dagger with about a minute to go to seal that thing. Scott, credit to them, they battled. They hung in there.
The physicality in that game was off the chart. It was the most physical game I've seen in years. I mean, they were letting them play for sure.
Yeah, it wasn't a pretty game offensively. Dale Thomas got off to a great start, scored 14 of his 16 in the first half, and then Holman, after a quiet first 3 quarters, scored 9 of his 12 in the fourth to seal the victory there. So Central,
Brock Scholl was really good, by the way. We can get to B, but he was impressive.
Yep. Central, so 13-3, and they go to Gretna Friday, and then they have Fremont Saturday. So big one on Friday. That's another chance for Central
out there too. It's a little different.
Yeah, it's a chance for Central to kind of solidify themselves as they're the number 3. We talk about kind of the top tier.
That thing will be in the 40s. Yeah. It won't. Yeah. It'll. No one's getting 60s. Probably a stretch.
But Gretna's had some really high scoring games. So that's kind of the funny thing.
I just feel like those 2 teams and the way they are able to guard you.
Yeah.
It's gonna probably how it's called because the depth on both teams isn't tremendous, particularly Gretna.
Yep. So Westside at 4, they had that 20-point loss to Millard North. They had 10-point win against Millard West, where they kind of controlled the middle 2 quarters after it being close early. They, as a team, they just did not shoot the ball well from 3 last week. And they have, in addition to not shooting well from 3, I think they had 12 2-point makes in each game there. So they got to find a way to score the ball better when the 3s aren't falling. But they're still sitting there at number 4 at 12-4, and they got a big one against Prep on Friday. So the rematch from the holiday tournament, rivalry game. That'll be a good one. Mentioned Gretna, they'll have Central this week, at Northwest on Tuesday. They handled Papio South 76-55 behind a 24-point outing from Cade Cook, 7 points, 3 boards, and then double digits from the other 3 kind of key scorers for them. And then they beat Millard South by 23 as well. So Gretna, that's in there at 12-4 now. Like I said, got the big one on Friday. And Papio South, they fell out of the rankings. They're down to receiving votes again without Reese Kircher.
We talked about that last week. They're just kind of in this little rut right now where they lost a handful in a row. They're
playing really good teams.
Yeah, that's what I mean. And they got one and beat Northeast to probably give them some confidence a little bit. But
they're 10-6 now. Spot. They go to Lincoln East on Saturday. I mean, it's been tough on Bryson Ball with kind of just a lack of he's had to create much more for himself,
and he's just
and teams are sending double teams at him. I'm sure they did get a good game out of Levi Webb, a freshman. Seems like he's starting to play a little bit more for them. With
started, I believe.
With Kircher sideline. So Wes Frost had a good game against Gretna, 20 against his former team, but didn't get enough outside of him and ball. So Papio South has some things to figure out because of injury. Omaha North, they figured things out pretty well for them. 11-2 start. They're sitting there at number 6. Beat Elkhorn South by 5. Beat Fremont by 29. And Minor Strong went off for 49 points between the two games, leading the way like he has been all season for them. I got a good week from Dekai Turner in double digits both games. And so like that's kind of, and then Jerrion Williams had double, 14 points, 12 rebounds, 4 assists, 4 steals against Fremont, the sophomore there. So so North, they're sitting there at 11-2. They haven't faced the toughest schedule yet. So the key for them is going to be coming up here in mid-February. They go to Central, they host Westside, and then they go to Bryan before their last game of the year against Lincoln High.
They have a lot of games coming up.
That 3-game stretch is, I think, when we're going to be able to, all right, are they top 5?
They have
or
9 more games in like 2 weeks.
It's going to be wild for some of these teams trying to get games rescheduled here.
But yeah, they rescheduled one against Columbus.
Yeah.
Or wait.
Yeah, because they got 3 games this week.
Maybe.
Papillion Vista Tuesday, Benson Thursday, Columbus Friday.
Okay, it says that they play Benson on the 2nd and Columbus on the 2nd. That can't happen.
No, Benson's Thursday, I believe.
Okay, well, I was just like that. That probably can't. That's probably not. But they do have, Papillion La Vista, who can. Hey, they're 8-6. Like they're not like
got some young kids that have some upsides. So.
Right. And then Benson at Columbus at South. They have 4 road games, and then they play Buena Vista. But it's like you said, that last 3 of that last 4, Central, Westside, and Bryan are pretty big. Going to be pretty big games for them because they can't. They're not. If you look at wildcard points, they're not making a leap. As much because they're
the schedule.
The schedule. I mean, they're 6th in wildcard points. They're hosting. I mean, it's just a matter of how you finish that out.
Mentioned Prep went 0-2 this week. Only dropped a couple of spots down to number 7 because tough losses. They lost 58-63 at Lincoln Pius, the 10th. And Pius got off to a great start, 20-12 first quarter, and then Prep was chasing the rest of the way.
Pius had a nice week too.
Well, and the key thing for Pius there, who's there at number 10, is Trayson Anderson kept in check both games against Prep and Scott. And we know both teams have a lot of size. Did a good job. It was the guards that stepped up for them. And that's kind of what most of the season it's been. Trayson 20-12.
They need
and then hopefully, and if they get 2 of those guards playing well and scoring efficiently, then they got a chance to win. If they don't, then they've lost. But this week, Trayson, not an efficient week at all. Teams defended him well. And you had Kellen Hum step up and was really efficient, shot the ball really well in both games.
A big one against Prep. Right?
He had 14 points, 4 boards, 4 assists in that one. Michael Haith had 14. Ian Brass had 12. So they had other guys contributing. It's good balance there offensively. And then Pius, they just kind of a complete performance against Scott. Hum 15 again, 5 of 6 from 3. And they shot 39% from the field and won. So pretty good defensive performance there for Pius against the Skyhawks.
Their week. They could. I mean, Kearney. They have Kearney Tuesday. Host Kearney on Tuesday. It's a big game. It feels like it's a pretty big game.
I'm planning to head down for that one.
And then
I've not seen.
And then they go at North Star and Omaha Northwest. If they can go 3-0 this week, that's some pretty good momentum. And then you have at Lincoln High, at Lincoln East, Fremont, and Northeast. Yeah. Kearney game is probably the one you look at and you're like, okay, like they could go on a pretty nice run here, like to end the year. So pretty big, actually. I just wonder if they'll be able to get, it doesn't look like they'll get that Westside game made up.
Tough.
Yeah.
So Bryan and Southeast at 8-9, both took care of business. Both went 3-0 last week against unranked teams there. So that's kind of rounding out A there. Bryan, they go to Kearney Friday. That'll be a big one. And then Southeast has that trip to Bellevue West on Saturday.
Yeah.
So each of them will have some
tough game.
chances to earn some good wins there. Looking at moving on to B.
Not a lot of change.
No. Again, kind of talked about the teams at the top separating. Crete,
Right.
16-0, only undefeated team in B there. They dominated the Central Conference tournament. Not a surprise. They won by 50, 26, and 41 in their three games there in their conference tournament there. So yeah, Crete on an absolute roll right now. They got a big one on Thursday. They're hosting Wahoo. Plan to head out for that one. I've not seen Crete in person yet. I've seen them on video, but looking forward to that one. Will be a good challenge for them. And then Norris sitting there at 13-1. Hastings gave him a battle last week, 61-55, but Evan Greenfield, the freshman, 20 points, 5 boards, 5 assists, 2 steals, 8 of 11 from the field, 3 of 4 from 3. He had one week or two back too, where he took over against was it Bennington, I think, and they pulled it out. That's a pretty nice luxury.
He's rounding into form.
Yeah. Nice to have a freshman like that coming off the bench that can change games.
They also they could just slow him, like they didn't need him like bang right away, which just totally helps. So, I mean, he's averaging 9.5 and shooting 51% from the field.
Yep. So they got Beatrice and Lincoln Christian this week. Elkhorn at 3-12-2. They survived against Bennington. 54-51 final. Shot. Yep. They were down 46-39 after 3 and outscored Bennington 15-5 in the fourth quarter. Colin Comstock led the way with 19 points, including the game-winning 3. Tough shot to step back, and he's capable of doing that. Charlie Lamsky, 14 points, 6 boards. Luke Howard, 10 points, 4 boards, and Cole Peterson, 7 points, 7 blocks, and 4 rebounds inside. And then they followed up with a 60-40 win against Lincoln Northwest. So they're kind of sitting there 12-2, moving along there. Scott, despite an 0-2 week, remained at 4 because both losses were to Class A teams. You mentioned Brock Scholl against. We did not see the Pius game, but we did see Central. We were both watching that together. Brock Scholl, 17 points, 8 boards, 4 blocks, 2 steals against a big physical Central front line there. He really did impress me with what he was able to do.
Yeah,
when he didn't have a whole lot of help.
Yeah, he had a pretty good game. He's having a really nice year. He's like
2010 guy,
a little more physical, right? Like that was one of the questions. He's just a corner 3 guy, just kind of la-di-da. No, like not anymore. And it does help that he has some big size next to him, so that certainly matters. But I was really impressed with him, even in a loss. I liked what I saw from the physicality, and taking the physicality piece of it was pretty good.
So Scott had 20 turnovers, shot 34% from the field, only made 3 threes, and they still had a chance to win that game in the fourth quarter, which is a testament to their toughness and the way they handled the physicality. They didn't.
And the turnovers were.
Yeah, they didn't quit. They didn't back down. They just couldn't quite play well enough to get the win there. But sitting there 9-5, they've got Bennington Tuesday, another big one, and then they go to Mount Michael on Saturday as well.
At Mount Michael with that court. With the size of Foreman and Brock, Foreman because Big George Foreman.
George Zeeble.
Yeah, George Zeeble, but we'll just nickname him Foreman.
I was wondering where you were going with that.
That's where I'm going with it. It's not what? I'm going to call him Foreman. I'm going to tell him that too. He's not going to understand what I'm talking about, but the old people will. That court will shrink. It's already small, but with that size, oh boy, like it's going to be real tight in there. Yeah, and it's rivalry.
Mount Michael might take 43s in that game.
Yeah, they're probably
because I've seen them take 43s in a game before, and that was So they're still there for. Scottsbluff is up to 5 after winning the GNAC tournament, including a 67-60 win over Sydney.
Not GNAC, Western Conference.
Yeah, whatever.
No, GNAC's no longer a thing. Just saying.
What it said anyway.
It's the Western Nebraska Conference tournament. It's okay.
I looked at the wrong thing.
Okay.
There are too many conferences. There are too many conference tournaments this week. That's trying to keep track.
There was a lot of conference. There are more coming this week.
But they beat Sydney in the final. It gave Sydney their first loss inside in Nebraska to a Nebraska team to win that. And now they'll get Sydney again this week. They go there on they go there on Saturday after taking on Alliance Friday. So the kind of the notable thing in B is that Elkhorn North, both boys and girls, went to Waverly and took a loss.
The girls one was very surprising.
Especially after what we saw last week. They made their way through the best in Class A. Nobody had really touched them in B, even Scott. It was a double-digit win, I believe, for Elkhorn North. But credit to Waverly, found a way to get it done.
They coach really well. They play hard. Like, it's not over. I mean, I guess I didn't see it. I haven't seen film or anything on it. So
on the boys, it was back-to-back, second of a back-to-back, and I guess Waverly runs a lot of sets and just a tough team to prepare for on short notice. And Elkhorn North wasn't quite able to get it done on the boys' side. So they dropped down to number 7. They've got
from 5 to 7. Yeah.
They've got Bellevue East on Tuesday, Mount Michael on Thursday, and they go to York Friday. So another busy week for the Wolves here.
At York can be dicey. I'm just saying, out there.
Yeah, they got Ryan Houston, the way he's playing this year. You got Lane Snodgrass back
in the lineup.
Tough.
They're tough.
Yep. Some notes in the other classes. In C1, Ashland Greenwood dropped from 3 went from 3 to 2 after a 44-41 against Wahoo.
Just can't beat them.
Trailblazer final.
What do you? Final. I feel like Ashland just has their number, not just this year.
Yeah, apparently, I guess Ashland Greenwood didn't quite defend Marcus Glock quite as well as he did the first time, but they had other guys step up. Dane Jacobson led the way with 19 points. They got a good game out of Drake Zimmerman as well. And again, just a grinder, 44-41.
The top of that, the top of C1 is very interesting because you kind of can make a case where like 6 or 7, maybe it's maybe. I haven't seen Auburn yet, so
I have. They were impressive that night at DC West.
And they can always guard you.
Sitting there at 15-0. Yep. Some good experience there with the guys that got back, and then Concordia's in there at 15-1. They're at 3. Wahoo dropped down to 4 with the loss. They're at 12-3 now, and again going to Crete, so that'll be a tough one for them.
Ashland Greenwood DC West is Friday.
Yep,
that's probably going to be my game of the week. It looks like right now.
Oh. Early leader in the clubhouse. So if any of the other options want to make a run at it, get out there and vote.
It is. Someone's going to need to make a major run at it right now.
Got until Wednesday morning, so other fan bases get out there and tell your friends. But so that's kind of the rest of C1 is the same, just some doubling at the top.
C2,
because of that.
Bergen moved way up from receiving votes to 7th. Freeman kind of continues to sit there and climb.
And Ponca's in there undefeated, 14-0. Up to number 3 after surviving a 64-55 double overtime win against Wynot.
Wynot was good
team in
D2.
In D2, and in D2, Walt Hill dropped from 2 to 5 after taking their first loss at Tri-County Northeast, and then Osceola back up to 2.
Listen, Osceola winning that conference tournament is really
Crossroads
tough.
Tournament.
Yeah, it's really tough. And then one thing in C1, or I guess in C2, C1, the East Central ECNC conference tournament is this week, and that could end up being Auburn and Freeman, who Freeman's kind of the last couple of years been moving here. And so Freeman's at 6, but they're 13-3. So that could be something. Auburn and them have played some thrilling 26-22 games in the last couple of years, or some, under 30 points total.
Yeah. And kind of finishing that note on Osceola as well. They avenged their loss to Cross County to get back up to number 2. And Kale Gustafson played 3 games this week, 75 points and 43 rebounds. 53 rebounds. Sorry. That's.
I venture to guess that over a third of those are offensive rebounds and zone putback.
Dude's tough, and they need every bit of what he's.
D2 could be interesting too, coming down here in the stretch a little bit. They play Parkview. Osceola does this week, I believe. Right.
So I think that's kind of Maywood Hay Center back up to number 3 in D2. I think that's kind of the end of the notes. You got anything else there?
No, you're good. Get to the shout outs.
Yeah.
Get out of here.
Yeah. Dunny County Stratton Senior Jackson Kirchhoff, probably said his name before, but monster week. 33 points, 8 rebounds, 4 steals, 3 blocks, 13 of 21 from the field, 6 of 8 from the line, and a 65-53 win at Paxton. And then followed up with 24 points, 7 boards, 2 assists, 2 steals, and a block. Shot 10 of 18, 3-6 from the line, and a 61-33 win at Cambridge there. He's had a phenomenal career and is capping off another great senior season here. Lincoln Parkview Christian Senior Terrence Pittman. I have said his name before for sure. Couple of 31-point games. Added 3 boards, 4 assists, 7 steals against Whiting, and then added 4 boards, 4 assists, 7 steals, and a block in a 20-point win against Cornerstone Christian School. Shot pretty well from both. Hit 5 threes in the second game. 14 to 17 from the field in the first. So he's, I believe leading the state in scoring and had a good efficient week in addition to the volume this past week. And then Laurel Concord College junior Gibson Roberts had a 30-point game, shot 50% from the field, hit 5 threes, 4 assists, 5 steals, couple of boards, and a 63-59 win at Osmond Randolph. So need every bit of that performance. That's all I got.
Yeah. That's it. All right. That'll do it for this week's edition of Nebraska Preps Postgame.